Hello and welcome. First, before we get on to the review of the MX Master 3, I would like to talk about some changes that I've made to my channel. As you can see, I've changed the name of the channel from HD Tech to Taylor Talks. I've done this because I feel like it better reflects both my desire to talk about technology, but also my animals and veterinary related topics. Moving forward, technology related videos will have a separate playlist, so that if you would like to only continue watching the tech videos, you can do that easily. But I would greatly appreciate it if you watched all my videos. Now, on to the review. The Logitech MX Master Mouse is frankly an amazing mouse to use, and honestly, even at the price tag of $100, I would recommend it. That being said, it's not a permanent fixture on my desk, and there are a few reasons why. First, I would like to talk about some of the cons of the mouse. The first one being that you cannot set an actual DPI for this mouse. Hey Ash, can you be quiet please? I'm trying to film. You cannot set the actual DPI of this mouse, and it is instead just a rough approximation of mouse sensitivity. While this wouldn't be a problem if it was the only mouse I was using, I do use my Model O- predominantly for desktop tasks and only use the MX Master 3 for editing. That means that the DPIs are never exactly the same, and the sensitivities vary, which makes it a slight learning curve every time I pick it up. Secondly, there is the magnetic scroll wheel. This is one of the things that I absolutely love about the mouse. Ash, can we stop, please? I'm trying to film a video. I know, it's not about you this time, but you're just gonna have to deal, okay? Getting back to it. The magnetic levitation scroll wheel is one of the Ash! The magnetic levitation scroll wheel is one of the coolest features about this mouse. But that being said, it doesn't come without drawbacks. I find that when I move the mouse side to side, especially in quick motions, I can feel the magnet, or what I assume is the magnet, thunking back and forth between the casing of the mouse. This, to me, is somewhat distracting and something that I think they could improve on in future iterations. For someone with small hands, I feel that this mouse is somewhat unwieldy to use, and especially when compared to my Model O-. Here is a size comparison between the two, and as you can see, there is a significant difference. The size of this mouse just makes it feel a little less precise to use, and makes it a little less comfortable. Well, you might ask, why don't I just use the MX Master 3 for everything? Well, I still like to game on occasion, and gaming on the MX Master 3 is a terrible experience. First of all, it's an ergonomic mouse. It's meant for productivity tasks, not for gaming. I'm not going to fault them for that, but it's simply a fact of reality. While it may be okay for slow-paced games or turn-based games, it is not going to be the ideal mouse for fast, competitive shooters, or anything where you need to be precise and accurate with your mouse movements. That being said, there are plenty of reasons why I absolutely adore this mouse, and it is the only mouse that I will use for editing. First of all, the magnetic scroll wheel. As I said before, I don't like how it feels when I'm moving the mouse side to side in quick motions, but the scroll wheel itself is frankly amazing, and I love using it. Sometimes, when it's sitting on my desk, I'll flick it just for fun, because that's how satisfying it is. However, I will say that the silky smooth nature of the vertical scroll wheel will make the horizontal scroll wheel feel a little bit less premium by comparison. However, the mouse has a horizontal scroll wheel, and that in itself is amazing, and I kind of find myself wondering why more mice haven't implemented this feature. The horizontal scroll wheel is fantastic for anything that requires horizontal scrolling. So think about Excel, you can go right to left very easily. In Photoshop, you can use it to increase and decrease the size of your brush. And it would be wrong not to tell you about how useful this mouse has been for editing videos. And this is really the reason why I love this mouse so much. It makes it so easy to scrub through your timeline that I don't think I could go back to using a regular mouse. On top of this horizontal scroll wheel, we also have 5 different programmable buttons. The really cool thing about this is that each button can be programmed on a per application basis. So this means that my buttons can have different binds for DaVinci Resolve versus Chrome, for example. For me, I use the mouse wheel button as delete, and then the button below that for backspace. And then on the side of the mouse here, I use these buttons for forward and back of frame. I find that this really helps me find the exact frame that I want to cut video at. For me personally, I don't use this button on the wing of the mouse for anything in DaVinci Resolve, and rather have just rebound the scroll wheel toggle to this button so that I can still get between smooth scrolling and ratchet mode. It also can work to switch between tabs in Chrome. However, I find that as someone that generally has between 15 and 30 tabs open at once, it's not nearly precise enough to be able to find the right tab. And then there's the feature where it can switch between different computers. As someone who has a desktop for home and a laptop for when I'm out on the go, this feature is honestly amazing and allows me to seamlessly switch between the two devices. On top of that, it can even copy files, although your rates and speeds for the transfer will be dependent on your internet. Another really great thing about this mouse is the battery life. So first of all, it doesn't require batteries and instead is USB-C rechargeable. It makes it easier when I just have a USB-C cable laying around to quickly top off my mouse. That being said, I doubt you'll have to recharge this mouse very often. Logitech quotes about 70 days of use time, and I would say that's probably pretty accurate. In my case, I got the mouse almost a year ago now, but then because of school, COVID, and moving, I wasn't able to use it much. When I pulled it back out to edit these videos, it had retained almost all of its charge. The mouse also has both Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz wireless connection. Both of these are very solid and work from a fairly long distance away. In my case, I often use this mouse to control my TV, which is hooked up to my computer, from afar. My final thoughts about this mouse are that it is absolutely amazing, but it still does have its own flaws. I would love to see Logitech make a slightly smaller, more compact, and lighter version of this mouse, and go into the software and add the option to set an exact DPI. That being said, this mouse has sped up my editing so much that you won't find me editing a video without it. That is, of course, until something better comes out. Overall, I would definitely recommend this mouse to anybody who's looking for a productivity mouse, but it still has room for improvement.